Last time we looked at the different grammatical purposes that verbs can have. We looked at main verbs, auxiliary verbs, the base form of the verb, the infinitive, and so on. The basic definition is from the grammar book is that verbs are words that express action, movement, change, being, having, etc. If you're very unsure about these 9 terms, very unsure, I'd suggest you go back and have a look at what we did last time. But don't worry if it's still unclear what these things are. We'll have a chance this time to put these terms to use in describing the tense of different sentences. We'll be looking at tense and at something called aspect. To start with tense, the tense of a verb tells you what time it refers to, whether it's in the past, as in we started at 6 o'clock, or the present, as in we are studying tenses, or the future, as in we will finish at 7:30. The aspect is something a bit more abstract. The aspect of a verb, says the grammar book, tells you whether the action or state that the verb refers to is complete or still in progress. Have a look at these examples. I have decided to get married. In this case, the action is deciding, and that action is complete. I have already decided, I've finished deciding and have decided. In the second sentence, I am considering whether I should ask Jackie or Pravina. The action is considering and it's still in progress. I haven't finished considering, I haven't made up my mind. Okay, what we're going to do, as usual, instead of talking about the definitions a lot first, we're going to look at some examples in context and do a couple of activities to get ready to bring in the grammatical descriptions. We're going to look at a short film, and what I'm going to do is have some sentences at the bottom of the screen, and there'll be a pause and you have to decide which word in the sentence is the main verb. Let me just give you an example. Here we go. So there's the sentence, and look is the main verb in that sentence. I'll just do that again. So the woman is looking for someone. Looking, look is the main verb. Now notice what I've got here is the base form of the verb. Not looking, but just look. The base form is the form you find in the dictionary if you look the word up. Okay, so I'm going to play the film, and there are 20 sentences, and there's a 4-second gap for each one. If you want, you can pause the video to give yourself a bit more time to decide, but see in each case whether you can write down in the base form the main verb in the sentence. Okay, good luck.
Joe.
No, you tell her. You tell her. Dracula.
That wasn't liquor. That was cold tea.
Okay, so you should have 20 words. Let's see if those are the main verbs of the sentence. I'll put them on the screen and I'll read the sentence that you saw when you were watching the video. 20 sentences. The woman is looking for someone. She was probably looking for Stan and Ollie. Stan and Ollie started drinking a few hours ago. Ollie doesn't know what Stan is laughing about. Stan often laughs about nothing. Ollie had been having a good time until a moment ago. They haven't seen the woman yet. Stan is going to explain. The woman isn't amused. She doesn't find anything funny. The other people are getting annoyed. Ollie has just seen the woman. Stan just finds it funny. The woman is about to say something. They won't be laughing in a minute. They'll have stopped laughing in a minute. What are they going to tell her? And will she find it funny? They have finished the whole bottle. Who is laughing now? Okay, if you look at 3 and 16, you'll see that there are two verbs there. Start drinking for number 3 and stop laughing for number 16. These are examples of catenative verbs. If you remember, catenative means chaining up, chaining together, linking together. And start and stop are very common examples of catenative verbs. They go together with these other verbs. Start doing something, start drinking, stop doing something, stop laughing. So if you put drink and laugh for number 3 and 16, that makes sense. Okay. What we're going to do now is look at the video again, but this time the main verb will be in square brackets in the base form, and what you have to do now is write the verb phrase. See if you can remember what the verb phrase was. This is useful for becoming sensitive to the grammatical structure of the verb phrase, so it's worth doing this even if it seems a bit repetitive. If you pause the video, there'll be a natural pause for 4 seconds, but you can pause the video and see if you can remember what the verb phrase was and write it down on a piece of paper. There are a couple of tricky ones, so if you're a bit confused, don't be thrown by it. You can just write down your best idea and continue. Okay, good luck again.
laughing at?
But if I want Buzzer, would like to lick
What's the joke?
No, you tell her. You tell her.
That wasn't liquor. That was cold tea.
Okay, I'm going to put the sentences on the screen now and talk through them and talk about the verb phrases. And we'll see that there are some features worth pointing out in a lot of the sentences. Now, the first sentence, the woman is looking for someone. The verb phrase here is in red, and it's called a verb phrase because it's more than one word. We have is looking. So there are two words in the verb phrase for the first sentence. The second sentence has a word in the verb phrase which isn't itself a verb. Do you remember what kind of word this is, or can you remember the grammatical term for this word? Probably. In blue, this is an adverb. The red words make up the verb phrase and the blue word kind of creeps in. So the verb phrase again has these two words in it, plus probably. Again, number 3, we've got a verb phrase with two verbs in it. In number 4, we have a contraction. Instead of saying does not know, we say doesn't know. So you could say that there are 3 words in the verb phrase of number 4, counted as 2. It doesn't really make much difference. But we've got does and know, doesn't know. In number 5, we've got just one word, laughs. And we've got another adverb, often, before laughs. The verb phrase in number 6 has 3 words in it. And in number 7 we have not again, have not seen. And notice at the end of that sentence we have an adverb as well. It doesn't creep in the middle of this verb phrase, it goes to the end of the sentence. In number 8 we have something a bit special which I'll explain later. It's very, very common to say going to. For example, Stan is going to explain. But we need to treat the phrase going to as a bit of an exception, but we'll come to that. In number 9 we have is not, again a contraction, isn't, and then does not find, doesn't, and then the rest of the sentences you can see there are some that have 2 verbs in it, some that have more verbs in it. Okay, well we're going to talk about the structure of these phrases in a bit more detail. The next bit is abstract and a bit technical, but don't give up at this point, keep going, and it will, I think, become clear why we needed some of the terms that we introduced last time. So the grammatical structure of verb phrases is what we're now thinking about. We'll start with something called inversion. You may have noticed this as you went along, that if we have a sentence like this, what's called a statement, when you're stating a fact, when you're saying something that's true or false, number 1, they are going to tell her something. When this is turned into a question, see what happens to the word they. What are they going to tell her? It creeps in between the are and going. Now this is called inversion. It switches places. The are goes to the front and the they goes after the are. Similarly, she will find it funny. If we turn that into a question, we get, will she find it funny? There are some other examples we can give from the sentences we've got. What do you think for number 3? If we turn this into a question, a yes-no question, what are we going to get? Well, was she looking for them? And another one, they have finished the whole bottle. If we turn that into a question, what do we get? Have they finished the whole bottle? Now this looks like a fixed rule. We could give so many examples of this, it would begin to seem like it is a rule for every kind of question, that we invert the blue word here, which by the way is called the subject of the sentence, but we'll be coming to that next time. It looks like a rule for every question, but have a look at this one. They started drinking a few hours ago. If you turn that into a yes-no question, what do you get? Did they start drinking a few hours ago? Notice here we need the auxiliary verb did. Now the auxiliary verb in a verb phrase is the verb that helps us do something. In this case it's helping us make a question. There are other auxiliary verbs on this screen at the moment. If we look at number 4, have finished. Have is an auxiliary verb that helps us make the tense. So is was in number 3. Number 1 and number 2 are a bit different, but we can see that here we're talking about the grammatical purpose of these verbs, what work they're doing in the sentence. We're not worrying so much about the meaning anymore. Number 5 is a very clear example of this because we need did to make the question. We couldn't say, for example, started they drinking a few hours ago? Start they drinking a few hours ago? Sounds strange, of course. So we need the did to make the question. Now, let's talk about the past, present, future bit of the verb phrase. This is something which will be needed in a few slides from now, so we'll just go through this, and why we're going through it will become clear in a second. Here we've got a list of pronouns: I, you, we, he, she, it, they, and if we put a verb here, drink, and I say, I drink every day, you drink every day, we drink every day. If we go to he, we say he drinks every day, and we need an S at the end, which is the same for she and it. She drinks every day, it drinks every day. When we go to they, and we say they drink every day, the S comes off. Now look at this. I am drinking. You are drinking. We are drinking. He is drinking. She is drinking. It is drinking. They are drinking. The form of the verb, this is all the verb to be, but the form of the verb changes depending on whether it's I, you, we, he, she, it, they. The verb drink, or other verbs like think or run, what we need is just the S for he, she and it. The verb to have is a bit special. We say, for example, I have finished the bottle, you have finished the bottle, we have finished the bottle, but we say he has finished the bottle, she has finished the bottle, it has finished the bottle, and they have finished the bottle. Now you'll see when we look at the verb phrases from the video why it's important to see these differences. It will become clear, I think. So let's look at this. What have we got here? We've got the woman is looking for someone, and there is a verb phrase here. I've got one of the verbs in blue this time and the other in red to highlight a difference. First question is this: what's the main verb here, the information verb here? It is, of course, looking. And the form of the verb we've got here is the past participle. Oh, sorry, the present participle. What am I talking about? The present participle. And the is shows that we're talking about the present. Now there's a confusing thing here just in the terminology of grammar, because the present participle doesn't mean that the sentence is about the present. That's just what we call this form of the verb. Now if we go on to the next one, the woman was looking for Stan and Ollie. Before it was the woman is looking, now it's the woman was looking. This is still called the present participle, but notice that was shows that we're talking about the past. Okay, now again the main verb here, the verb that's giving us the information, is having. But hang on, what do I mean the verb having is giving us the main information? Well, actually this is a nice example, because the phrase having a good time, that's a sort of fixed expression. It's an expression we all know. So in a way you'd want the whole last part of that sentence to be read, because it's an idiom, it's an expression that we're all familiar with. Notice as well that we've got the verb to have twice in this sentence, which sometimes confuses people when they start analysing the verb phrase and they find the same verb twice. Again, had shows us that we're talking about the past. We could change this sentence and say Ollie has been having a good time. We can see that sentence, the tense changes, that we're talking about a different time then, that would be present. Ollie has been having a good time and is still having a good time. The green word is the form of the verb is the past participle. Now the green and the blue verb are both auxiliary verbs. They're helping us to make the tense, the verb phrase, helping us make a verb phrase which tells us about the time and the tense and the aspect and all of that. And the red verb is the information word. But notice the structure. We've got the past participle plus the present participle. Let's go on to the next one. They will not be laughing in a minute. Much clearer cases of the main verb being the information verb. Again, this is in the present participle form. And then we've got a modal verb. We've got will. If you remember, modal verbs include verbs like will, would, should, must, can. And they in this sentence, the verb will needs the base form of to be plus the present participle. Why? Well, nobody knows why. I mean, there's no reason why, but this is how we make this kind of verb phrase. And of course, the sentence means something different with this verb phrase than the sentence they are laughing, they will be laughing, they are not laughing, they will not be laughing. These differences of form convey a difference of meaning. Okay, the next one. Just a few examples here. The information word, the main verb here, is explain, and then is gives us the present here. Not Stan was going to explain, but Stan is going to explain. And then, as I mentioned earlier, we've got this special feature here, we've got going to. Now, in the list of 20 sentences from the video, there's something else that's quite similar to going to, and let's see if you can find it. I won't say what it is now, but it's not exactly a modal verb. It's something a bit like a modal verb. It's not a content word like explain or drink or find or look. In this case, going to is being used to make a prediction or to say what's going to happen next, to talk about the future. So it has a function like that, a function similar to the modal verb will. Not exactly the same, and you can see the structure is a bit different. Okay, and just one more example. The simplest one here, we just have the one verb, and that gives us the present. Stan just finds it funny. If we put it in the past, Stan just found it funny. Notice here that find is an irregular verb. When we put the verb drink into the past, it's also an irregular verb. We have drink, drank. But if you take a verb like look, Stan, look, the woman looks, the woman looked for someone, that's a regular verb. You just have look plus ed. In this case, find, found. Okay, so tense and aspect. We've just considered some examples of this. The tense of the verb tells you what time it refers to, past, present or future, and the aspect of the verb tells you whether the action or state it refers to is complete or still in progress. So just 5 examples from what we've been considering. Stan and Ollie started drinking a few hours ago. That's a sentence in the past. They have finished the whole bottle. We see here the idea of something being completed. In this case, the bottle is completed. I mean, the drinking of the bottle is completed. The woman is looking for someone. This is in the present, and it's still in progress. She hasn't found the person she's looking for, the people, Stan and Ollie. She hasn't found them yet at the very beginning of the video. Stan just finds it funny, present. Will the woman find it funny, talking about the future? To explain the difference between tenses, it's very useful to be able to give that structural description to talk about things like present participles and past participles and so on. But really the most important thing is just to be sensitive to the verb phrase in a sentence, to be able to identify it and see that it's made up of 2 words or just 1 word in some cases, like number 4, or however many words it is, and to be able to just get a sense of the shape and the form of it. And then later, if you want to, you can get more technical and use the grammar terms.